Hey y'all, it's Miss Power. I am gonna go over the Module 8 review on this video. The test is on Friday. The test is on May 20th. Is that true? 17th, 18th, 19th. Yep, May 20th. Um, yeah, this is a way to study. There's other ways to study. Let's get to it. Okay, first question says state the center and the radius, then graph the following circles. For each of these, the radius is the square root of this back number, right? And the center is found by these numbers next to x and y, but we switch their signs. So the center here is 2, -4. The center here is -1, +1. The radius, again, you take the square root. So the radius here is 2, and the radius here is 7. And again, we got that because it's the square root of 4 and the square root of 49. Nice. Now to graph it, I'm going to graph the center first by going over 2, down 4. Right? That's 2, -4, -4, our center. And then I'm going to kind of draw up, down, left, and right our radius distance. So if the radius is 2, I'll draw over 2, up 2, to the right 2, and down 2, and then very artistically connect the dots. Wow, perfect circle. Flawless. I'm obviously joking. If it's not drawn perfectly, it'll be fine. As long as I know that you found the right center and found the right radius, we're good. So here, the center is -1, +1. So to the left 1 and then up 1. Our radius is 7, so I'll count over 7, 7, 7, and 7. And then incredibly artistically draw a circle that kind of hits those points. And again, it does not have to be perfect. That would be an insane request because I also can't do it perfectly. Okay. Now, instead of going from equation to graph, and like having the stopping point be center and radius, I am going to give you the center and radius, and you're going to write the equation of the circle. Okay. Here, the basic equation for a circle looks like this. So I'm going to write that in both of my answers just immediately. Now I'm going to fill in my information. My center is 0, 6, so I'll do -0, -6. My radius is 8, and I'm going to do 8 squared as my back number. Now I'm going to tidy this up. X minus 0 is just x, so I'll do x squared. Y minus 6 already is simplified, so I'll keep that as is. And then 8 squared is 64. Cool. Now, for this one, same thing. I'm just going to plug in my 8 turns into a -8. We swapped the signs when we were doing the center. My -3 turns into a +3, and I square my radius. Again, let's clean it up. X minus 8 squared is already simplified. Y plus 3 squared is already simplified. And then the square root of 80 squared is 80. There's our answers for those two. Change colors. For number 3, write each equation in center radius form. State the center and the radius. Write answers in simplified form. This is when we complete the square. Right? We want to first put all the x stuff next to each other and put a big blank. Put all the y stuff next to each other and put a big blank. And then move this plus 50 to the other side. Make it a minus 50. So my first step is this light blue. And it's a setup step, right? My second step is this dark blue. Second step. Where I'm also going to be doing another setup step. Where I just over here write the x's and the y's. And I know I'm going to fill in something here, fill in something here, and fill in something here. One thing I forgot here is I'm going to add some stuff here. All right, my third step is actually completing the square. This is when I divide 20 by 2, positive 10 here, and then square 10 to add 100. And if I added 100 on one side, I need to add it to this other side as well. So I did 20 divided by 2, wrote down 10. I did 10 squared, wrote down 100. And because I added 100 on the left-hand side of the equal sign, I also need to add it on the right-hand side of the equal sign. Same thing, negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. Negative 7 squared is 49. I added 49 here. I need to add 49 here. Now I plug this into a calculator. Negative 50 plus 100 is 50, plus 49 is 99. All right, fourth step is stating the center and the radius. The center is negative 10, positive 7. I got that from here and here. And then my radius is whatever the square root of 99 is. I can leave it like this. I can simplify my radical if I want, cool points. It's not translating to actual points. Or I can make it a decimal. I don't like making it a decimal, so I won't. All right. Moving on. Write the equations of the circle from the following graphs. The first thing I'm going to do is find the center of both of these. I think I actually give you the center on the test. This one looks like this. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's 7 on each side. So again, I'll give you the center of the test. This definitely has radius center. Definitely has center point 0, positive 3, right? Because this is the origin. If my center is 0, 3, and my radius is 7, my equation will be x squared, x minus 0, just simplifies to x squared, plus y minus 3 squared equals 49. And again, that's the radius squared. That's the center with its signs changed. All right, y'all, I cut this video. I'm going to pause for a couple minutes, but that's okay. All right, we just finished this one. Now I'm going to go to this one, which is actually harder, which is why I started with the second one. Probably should just switch those. That's how it goes, though. Here, I gave you the center. So certainly we've got x plus 6 squared and y plus 4 squared as this side of our equation. And now I need to know how big the radius is. I can do this two different ways. Two different ways that I'm going to go over, at least. I can use the distance formula between negative 3, 1 and negative 6, negative 4. Or I can use Pythagorean theorem. Where this is my triangle. Oh my gosh. Or this is my triangle, and I'm trying to find... this radius, right? For the distance formula, I would do x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, all square rooted. So mine would be negative 3 minus a negative 6. So that ends up being plus 6. And then 1 minus a negative 4, which ends up being plus 4. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. 1 plus 4 is 5. So it's the square root of 9 plus 25, which is the square root of 31. If we're doing the Pythagorean theorem, again, we've got this triangle we're looking at. where this is the radius. Over here, it looks like this distance is 3. So we'll write that as a 3. This distance looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This distance is a 5. So we would do 5 squared plus 3 squared equals r squared. 25 plus 9 equals, yo, that's not 31, it's 34. Don't let me lie to you. 25 plus 9 is r squared. Radius squared is 34. The radius is the square root of 34. Either way, what goes right here in the equation is 34. Because we want to do the radius squared. So we actually want that to go right there. Kind of fun. A lot of people like the Pythagorean theorem way better. It doesn't really matter. But either way. Okay. Find the equations of the following circles. To be honest, this is pretty similar to what we just did up here, but it's in words instead of in pictures. If we've got something with a center at this that passes through the point 12, 3, it is exactly the same thing we just did for this, except there's no picture to go along with it. Right? So we would say the center is 6, negative 5. We'd say x minus 6 squared plus y plus 5 squared. Now we need to find the radius squared to go right here. The radius is, if this is 6, negative 5, and this is 12, positive 3, (6, negative 5, 12, positive 3. Between 6 and 12 is 6. Between negative 5 and 3 is 8. We can do 6 squared. 8 squared is the radius squared, which is 36 plus 64 is radius squared, which is 100. We could then take a square root to find out that 10 is r, right? Square root here and square root here. But to be honest, I want this to be r squared. So I could have stopped at here. Sorry, at here. And then just plugged in my 100. The next one, with a diameter at endpoints 1, negative 10, and negative 9, 4. For this one, kind of the picture is I've got 1, negative 10, and negative 9, 4. I've got my diameter here. The midpoint of these two is the center. And half the distance between these two is the radius. Or the distance from the center, which we'll find, to the outside is the radius. So let's do the midpoint formula first. The midpoint formula says add both the x's together and divide by 2, taking the average. And add both of the y's together and divide by 2, aka the average. So here we've got negative 9 plus 1 over 2 and 4 plus a negative 10, which is subtraction. Negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8. 4 minus 10 is negative 6, which means the center of the circle is at negative 4, negative 3. Great. And then the distance between these two, I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem again. Again, you could use the distance formula. Between negative 4 and 1, that's a distance of 5. Between negative 3 and negative 10, that's a distance of 7. So now the radius here, radius squared equals 5 squared plus 7 squared. Radius squared equals 25 plus 49. Radius squared equals 74. Is that true? Yep, looks true. I could do the square root here, but honestly, I want the radius squared for my equation. So my equation will be x plus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 74. Again, we got this because we found the center, we found the radius, we plugged it into our equation. Okay. Next question says, the equation of an ellipse is this equation. Which points lie on the ellipse? Show your work. Okay. Couple ways to do this. We can logic our way through some of them, and then other ones we can just plug in x and y and see if it's true. Right? So let's do both ways. This, if we plug it in, 2 is our x, 6 is our y. So we would get 2 minus 2 squared over 36 plus 6 minus 6 squared over 81. And we're trying to see, is that equal to 1? All right, well, 2 minus 2 is 0. 6 minus 6 is also 0. This is all 0 plus 0. These things are not equal, so no, this point's not on the line. The way we could have gotten this faster is 2 comma 6 is the center of our ellipse. Right, if I look at the equation, 2 comma 6 is definitely the center, and the center is never on the ellipse. So I could have immediately said, no, it's the center. All right, let's try this one. If I plug in 2 for x and negative 3 for y, is that going to give me 1? All right, well, 2 minus 2 is 0, so all of this goes away. Negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9. Negative 9 squared is 81. And 81 over 81 is 1. So yes, this is on the line. Another way we could have found this one is that if we graphed this, the center is 2 comma 6 right here. And this is the point that is 9 below the center, which is what we should expect from this 81. Should do all this though. Let's run it back. If you plug in 3 for x, and if you plug in negative 6 for y, does this equal 1? Let's find out. Negative 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. 1 squared is 1. 12 squared is 144. This is definitely not going to be equal to 1. Definitely we can plug this into a calculator, boop, 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 get a number that's not 1. But the reason I know it's not going to be 1 is this is already bigger than 1, and I'm just adding something onto it. It's not going to get smaller when I'm adding something bigger, right? So it's certainly not 1. So we can say no. This is not on the graph. Not on the ellipse. Let's keep going. Graph the following ellipses. All right. Let's graph the center first. We'll do markings for the x and y radius. This is actually the major and minor axis, right? But it's nice to think of them as the x and y radius. And then we'll connect it very artistically into an oval. All right, so first off, let's find the center. The center here is negative 3, negative 1. I just changed the plus 3 and plus 1's sign. Negative 3, negative 1. Boom, center found. The minor axis is, or half the minor axis, is 4, because it's 4 squared. Because 16 is under x, this is how far left and right we go from the center. So we go over by 4 to the left and to the right. 49 is 7 squared. That's not a squared. 49 is 7 squared. And this is how far up and down our ellipse goes, because again, this is under the y. So we go 7 up, 7 down, do a little marking. And now, very artistically, we will connect these kind of reference points into an ellipse. Here, same thing, a little wackier. The center here is 0, comma 4. The 4 we should expect, the negative 4 turns into a positive 4. The x squared tells us that we didn't move to the left or right at all, so we're just still at 0, x equals 0. So this is our center point. For this one, 4 is 2 squared, so we want to go over by 2 and over by 2 in the left and right direction, in the x direction. And then here, oh no, what do we do? What we do is we say, if we don't have a fraction, it's basically over 1. And 1 is 1 squared. So we'll end up going up 1 and down 1. And then connecting our dots. So again, if there's no number on the bottom, the number is secretly 1. And then 1 is 1 squared. So our minor axis, is just 1 up and 1 down. Cool. Keep it going. This is the backwards version, right? Where I've given you the center and the major and minor axes, and we are finding the equation. So let's actually write down what these are. The center looks like -5, -3. The x-axis, how far left and right we went, is 5. And how far up and down we went is 3. When we put this all together, we say it's x plus 5. That's from the center x point being -5. Divided by 25. That's from 5 squared. Plus y plus 3. That's again from this right here. Squared. Divided by 9. That's this x and y, or x-axis, sorry, y-axis squared. And then it always, for an ellipse, equals 1. Same stuff. Let's go. The center is 0, 2. We are going 4 to the left and right. And we are going, looks like 7 up and down. Putting this all together, this tells me that I just have x squared on the top. This tells me that there's a 16 below the x squared, plus y minus 2 from this part of the center, divided by 49 from 7 squared. It's an ellipse, so it equals 1. Nice. All right, last one, the weird one, the hard one. I want to first figure out whether these are circles or ellipses. Then I want to complete the square on all of them. Then I want to graph them. This is a monster problem, right? Let's do it one by one. First, let's see if they're circles or ellipses. Here, I've got an x squared and a y squared, and they both don't have a coefficient. That's definitely a circle. This one has a 4x squared and a 4y squared. They're the same number, so it's definitely a circle. And, as a fun fact, the very first thing we're going to do when we solve this one is divide everything by 4. Oh, is this 87? I think this is 87. Let's get my calculator. 348 divided by 4. 87. Nice. Wow. Amazing memory. Okay. And then this last one, The coefficients for x squared and y squared are not the same, so this is an ellipse. I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna come back and explain how to complete the square. I'm back. All right, we just decided that this first one was a circle because again, it's x squared plus y squared, same coefficient. The second one's a circle because 4x squared and 4y squared are both the same number. Then we decided we could make this way easier by dividing absolutely everything by 4. And we decided this last one was an ellipse because it has an x squared and a y squared, but they're two different coefficients. Now, to solve them, right, to complete the square and put them into standard form. For the circle, the first thing we're going to do is sort them. We're going to put the x stuff together, so x squared plus 12x. And while we're doing this, we'll put a blank here. We'll put the y stuff together, y squared. There's no y term, so that's all the y stuff, equals, and we'll put negative 32. The way we move 32 to the other side is we subtract 32 from each side, and that way it's negative. Okay, that was our setup step. Our next setup step, we'll do this in rainbow order so you can tell what order I do these in. Our next setup step is saying our answer is going to look something like this. X plus or minus something squared plus y squared equals some number. And I know it's just going to be y squared because there's no like 5y or negative 6y or something like this. The next step, which I'll do in orange, is completing the square. This is when we do 12 divided by 2 is plus 6. 6 squared is 36. And I add 36 to both sides to balance it out. Because I put in 36, it wasn't part of the original equation. Because I put in 36, that's when I need to balance it on both sides. Then I do negative 32 plus 36 and get 4. Nice. From this equation, I can tell that the center is negative 6 comma 0. And I can tell that the radius is the square root of 4, which is 2. So I'll go down here, put my center at negative 6, 0. I'm going to go 2 to the left, 2 to the right, 2 up, and 2 down. And then very artistically draw a circle. All right, let's do it again. Same steps, so I'll do the same colors. The very first thing I did was divide everything by 4. Right? I divided all of it by 4 because I know it's a circle, and now I can do the same steps. I'm going to sort. X's go together with a big blank afterwards. Y's go together with a big blank afterwards. And I move the 87 to the other side. Because it was subtracted at first, it's going to be added on the other side. The negative 87 was part of the equation originally. We did not add that in. That was already part of the problem. And that's why we're going to do the opposite on both sides to move it, rather than to us add it into both sides. All right, that's the first setup step. The second setup step is it's going to be x plus or minus something squared plus y plus or minus something squared equals some number. Now we complete the square. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 times itself, or squared, is 9. Then I'm going to add 9 to this side as well. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. And I'm going to add this to this side as well. Now I get my calculator and I do, 87 plus 9 plus 25 equals 121. Oh, get the green. Now I'm going to interpret my equation. My center is then 3 comma 5. And my radius is 11, or the square root of 121. Whew, I did not make this graph big enough then. Let's see. Let's count by, if that's 8, I'm going to need at least 16. Let's count by 2s, right? So we'll say this is 4, this is 8, this is 12, this is 16. Same here, 4, 8, 12, 16. The center is 3, 5, so 3, 5. The radius is 11. That means 3 plus 11 is, oh gosh, 14. That goes there. 3 minus 11 is negative 8. We're saying this is 4, 8, 12. 5 plus 11 is 16, and 5 minus 11 is 4, 8, negative 6 here. And then very artistically, we'll do this in a slightly different color. Very artistically, we'll draw a circle. Boop, 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 boop. Nice. All right. Down here, let's make this actually a little bigger. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Put this down. Wow. Thought that was going to work a lot better. Perfect. Now it's beautiful. Great. All right. Now for the ellipse, it's slightly different for an ellipse, right? For both of these, we just rearranged it so that the x's were together and the y's were together. We didn't have to worry about any numbers out front, any coefficients. Here we have to worry about the coefficients. So first thing we're going to do is put the x's together. Then we're going to put the y's together. Then we're going to put the number on the back side. Move this one over here by subtracting 148 from each side. Now we're going to deal with the fact that these numbers are out front as coefficients, and we don't want them to be. So I'm going to factor out a 16 from these. I'm going to factor out a 9 from these. And then this, for right now, will remain negative 148. Okay, when I factor out a 16, 16x squared becomes x squared. 128x, we do 128 divided by 16. Get that it's 8. So this becomes plus 8x. And this is a blank. Same thing here. 9y squared becomes y squared when we divide it by 9. Negative 36y becomes negative 4y when we divide it by 9. We put the blank. And then the negative 148 stays, right? Now, this is a lot of setup, right? Now for our next organizational step, we're going to say it's about to be x plus or minus something squared with a 16 out front. It's going to be y plus or minus something squared with a 9 out front. And then this is going to be a totally different number altogether. Now we complete the square. We do 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. Over here, put this right here. I'm going to add 16 and add 4. But I didn't actually only add 16. I added 16 times 16. And I added 9 times 4. So right here, this is actually negative 148 plus 256 plus 36. So let's do that. 256 plus 36. Let me make sure. Yep. Minus 148, which ends up being 144. Nice. We're so close. By that I mean there's like a couple more steps. Now, if this were a circle, we'd be finished, but it's not. We want to get rid of this, and we want to get rid of this in the top. But more importantly, we want this to be a 1 since it's an ellipse. So we're going to divide every single part by 144. 144 over 144 is 1. So we're doing good. 9 over 144. We basically just divide each thing by 9. So this is over 16. So we're canceling. And then this one we cancel as 16. 144 divided by 16. 9. So the x plus 4 is over 9. Okay. We're going to interpret this. The center is -4, +2. The axis along the x, the side to side, the left and right, the x direction is 3, because it's the square root of 9. And then the axis in the y direction is the square root of 16, i.e. 4. So when we graph this, we go -4, +2, right there. The kind of x radius is 3, so we go over 3 to the left and right. The y radius, the thing we were thinking of as the y radius, is 4, so we go up 4 and down 4, and we very artistically draw our ellipse. Y'all, that's the Module 8 review. The test looks just a lot like this. There's a couple more bonus points available on the test, but those are bonus, so, I'm not going to go over them. If you have questions, definitely bring them to class on Thursday during review. I'll be here before and after school as well. Go team. See you soon. Good luck studying.